Welcome back to Anglesey for day two of our special meeting, the Scottish Championship runners mixing it up with the Irish. A little bit more cloud cover today so far. The driver grid draw has taken place, so let's fill you in on who starts where in the Scottish grid. Pole position going to Ivor Greenwood from John Bushby. Then it's David Hunter and Scott Hines. John Patterson on row 3 with Steve McGill, Michael Paxton and Ryan McLeish from Gerald McCosh, Colin McNeil, Neville Anderson and Jordan Hodgson. The Irish drivers in the mix as well. We've got Gordon Brown, Ian Conroy there on the front row of the grid, Gary Humphreys and Paul O'Brien. Paul O'Brien in the orange 11, who's unbeaten so far in the Irish class, as it were. And we are racing here, going around turn 1. And Ivor Greenwood gets it sideways in 37. Bang! Into the back. Sadly goes John Bushby. Not what we wanted to see. A big jolt for Ivor Greenwood, who, remember, is in his 70s. We could all do without the bangs and bumps, but Ivor probably particularly more so. And I would imagine that's going to be a safety car. Here's the replay. We're going down into turn 1. It's the pole position car, or the car on the outside of the front row, that I think, takes a spin. I don't think there was contact there until we saw John Bushby, who was unsighted. Here's a view from the car that spun and gets hit. There wasn't a jolt, was there? Until he got hit. So Ivor Greenwood sadly out of the race. John Patterson busy at the moment chasing Gordon Brown up the hill and has a look on the inside line, makes the position. He's going to chase Paul O'Brien up the hills, and so Brian up front at the moment. And Pat goes through. I think surely we've got to have a safety car being scrambled to recover John Bushby and also Ivor Greenwood. It's a relatively long lap, as we said in part 3. It's 1.5 miles, just over 1.5 miles the lap here on Anglesey. Scott Hines coming under pressure from Steve McGill. McGill in the 15, and the car's coming down through the corkscrew. All at the moment relatively close together in these opening stages. So O'Brien being closed in on now by John Patterson. They go across the grid lines and it's hand out of the window because it is safety car time. The drivers have picked that. There's Ivor Greenwood. The red and white pattern incidentally on the top of his helmet. I'll come back to that in a minute. There's the recovered car of John Bushby. And we're going to go green now, and a little bit of contact here because Gordon Brown side by side with Scott Hines. What was it we said about clean racing before the break? I'm not saying this is dirty racing, but there's certainly a little bit more contact here on day 2. Keep your eyes on the number 8 of Jordan Hodgson. John Patterson here trying to equal, I think, the record set by Ben Mason I referred to earlier in the programme of consecutive wins. And Ben's wins indeed were gained at different tracks, and I think some of Ben's consecutive wins were gained here on Anglesey on the old configuration. There in 76 is Gordon Brown. It is still Paul O'Brien out front at the moment. Second position is with John Patterson. There's Ivor Greenwood's kind of background. Now I know Ivor's not on shot at the moment, but we're going to talk about the helmet colour that we had from him. That is also the car. I don't know if he's still got the hat, but he used to wear a triangular patterned hat, leather hat, which 2 other drivers who were his good mates had as well. The key thing was that his 2 mates came from different parts of the UK. There was Howard Cole from Lincolnshire had the same design hat, and Bill Batten from the West Country down there at in Cornwall, who had that. And they were great mates. They built and raced cars very successfully, all 3 of them. Howard Cole sadly no longer with us, but those of you that maybe have an oval racing heritage will know exactly what I'm talking about, that those 3 guys were great friends, and amazing that Ivor Greenwood's still racing. And look at that super piece of racing there while I was waffling on. Jordan Hodgson, great move around the outside of Gordon Brown. He's going to try and get it back down the inside. Hodgson left a little gap there. That was a good move, slightly across the grass maybe for the Irishman to go back, but Jordan Hodgson, that's notice of intent for the Scottish Championship regulars. That man is keen to get stuck in. We get back to Knocker. This is an away day, remember, on Anglesey as we go on to the last lap. Hodgson's going to be one to watch, but out front it's Paul O'Brien. Second place on track is John Patterson, and it's going to be a Scottish class win here for John Patterson, but O'Brien out front. He's got the outright fastest lap as well, breaking into the 119s now, Paul O'Brien, 119.481. And it's going to be another Irish win, but this is what he was after, an overall win here to beat the Scottish drivers on their away day. It's a away day for the Irish drivers, of course, as well here in North Wales. Maybe we should have a Welsh championship if Circuit of Wales takes off. 3 centres, Anglesey, Pembrey and the new proposed track at Ebbw I'm talking years ahead, of course, and fingers firmly crossed. Paul O'Brien's fingers are crossed that he's going to get it through to the line. He's going to do that with ease. Here he comes. The race winner takes the flag. Paul O'Brien wins it. We wait for the second place car. It's John Patterson who finishes in second. Patterson's second place, though, in the final result. Exclusion for a technical infringement. Scott Hines second from Michael Paxton and Neville Anderson. Gerard McCosh next from Colin McNeil. They complete the finishers. Race 5 of the weekend about to get underway, and the reverse grid as follows: Colin McNeil from Gerard McCosh, Ryan McLeish and Michael Paxton, then Steve McGill and John Patterson, Scott Hines, David Hunter, John Bushby and Ivor Greenwood on row 5, Jordan Hodgson and Neville Anderson completing the Scottish contingent. The mini safety car pulls into the pit lane and we're ready to go racing again for the penultimate time in this meeting. Gerard McCosh in the black and white 68 car leads them around the final turn, side by side with Colin McNeil. And then on row 2, Michael Paxton. Good to see him in the mix now, with Ryan McLeish getting a quick start on the outside. Gerard McCosh on the inside line through turn 1 is the view from John Patterson. Michael Paxton immediately in front. Let's see what WePack can do from here. Pat round the outside of the banking. You did get a very slight feel of the banking from that one. The good news, of course, great news, that Ivor Greenwood is back out. Very little can put a stop to Ivor Greenwood. Been racing, I think, probably in terms of the amount of racing that he does, probably the longest serving racing driver in the UK. So we've said that before, but he is an absolutely fine example that he should never retire. Here we go on board with John Patterson, who's on the inside line here. Patterson desperate to get another win. You can see Paul O'Brien a little bit further back, so O'Brien's going to have to work hard here from the back of the field. That's exactly what Legends is all about, the reverse grid racing. The cars, of course, are small enough wherever you put them, whatever circuit you put them on in the UK. By and large, there is room for overtaking. Even if you went on the tight confines, say, of Camberwell Park, where the Nationals have a round coming up in a few years. A good race here at the moment between Ryan McLeish, John Patterson out front, Ivor Greenwood getting stuck in side by side with Gerard McCosh, but it's McLeish who holds on to lead position at the moment, coming around that final turn and onto the main straight. Gordon Brown up ahead of Scott Hines in 26. Brown looks on the inside line of McCosh, makes the move stick. Patterson's got the inside line coming up into the banking. My goodness me, the door was wide open there by Ryan McLeish. So McLeish drops to second place and John Patterson goes through. He's going to be gutted about the outcome of the last race and very much now has a point to prove here. Patterson is away and down the road with McLeish in second. Davey Hunter is up into third place. Fourth position is Colin McNeil in car number 4, and here comes Ivor Greenwood going through on the inside line. The Greenwood Race Engines back machine, his own company, of course. Ivor's prepared a lot of very fast engines over the years for people. A little bit of a wobble there from Gordon Brown. We go on board again with Ivor Greenwood. There he is in the 37. Ivor chasing hard with Jordan Hodgson immediately in front. Superb move on Hodgson with Gordon Brown going up into the rocket complex on that last lap. Standout move. Ivor Greenwood right behind him, and then it is the 68 of Gerard McCosh. Good to see Gerard back in the championship this year. People probably used to see him racing the 69 machine, but he's bought that car, stuck Napoleon on the back and come out racing number 68, which is grand news. And Gerard, although not of as many years as Ivor Greenwood, has been racing Legends longer than Ivor, and is indeed what we term a golden master, which means he's one of the older over 40 drivers in the Legends Championship. Meanwhile, we go back and you can see race leader here is John Patterson with Paul O'Brien in second position. Second place for the Scottish drivers is Ryan McLeish, so it's Patterson from McLeish, but it's Paul O'Brien second overall, Ian Conroy fourth overall, David Hunter in fifth place will complete the Scottish podium if it stays like this to the flag. It's John Patterson here who is going to take a fourth win of the weekend through Peel Corner, showing Paul O'Brien a clean pair of heels here. Hopefully the two of them will be together at the back of the grid for our final race of the weekend here on Anglesey. But Patterson looking very good again. But having said that, he got the fastest Scottish lap on lap 2, but Paul O'Brien's got the fastest lap outright of the race on lap 5, a 1:19 again, a 1:19.4. But look for the checker. John Patterson's no stranger to the checkered flag. There it is again. He takes the win. McLeish second, Hunter in third, Scott Hines fourth, then Jordan Hodgson, Gerard McCosh from Ivor Green with Colin McNeil, Michael Paxton and Neville Anderson.
The first race, Paul got away. I was a wee bit further back. I managed to catch up with him, but it was quick. I decided yesterday, after kind of racing with Paul yesterday, my engine temperature was going right away up, sitting behind him. So I decided I was going to give it 3 or 4 laps to try and pass him. And if I couldn't get by, I would maybe just back off and save my car, because as you say, Paul's not in my championship. So I tried everything I had. I was up the inside, the outside, but I just couldn't get by. And his pace was really, really strong. As the race goes on, the cars definitely go off a wee bit. So I just kind of backed out it, let my car cool down.
Then Paul, you've beaten him once, can you do it again?
Well, that's going to be the plan for the final. So, no, after yesterday him wiping the floor with me 3 times, I said this morning he ain't winning that first race. So, and I had to pull out all the cars this morning, backing him up in the corners, just playing the tricks he was playing on me yesterday.